श्रद्धेय अजय भाई जी, स्पिरिचुअल मोटिवेटर, श्री पी आर जयशंकर जी, CMD IFCL लिमिटेड, श्री KM गुप्ता जी, कन्वेनर BJP CSL दिल्ली, श्री दीनदयाल अग्रवाल जी, चेयरमैन CSR रिसर्च फाउंडेशन, श्री Rahul Agarwal, and ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I am thankful to Shri Deendayal Agarwal ji, Chairman CSR Research Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to deliver the keynote address at this 6th summit, National Summit on Financial Inclusion, with the theme, A Way to People, Planet and Prosperity. The theme of this National Summit has also been the theme of much of my professional life, which was around 40 years in the banking industry. And during the last around 10 years, I was closely associated with financial inclusion. And I still remember when I was Executive Director of Bank of Maharashtra, so I myself and Shri Deendayal Agarwal ji both were member of the Financial Inclusion Committee of the bank, which was a board level committee. As we inch towards almost the close of what has been an unprecedented couple of years in terms of loss of lives and livelihoods due to this ongoing corona pandemic and the way of living in general, it would be appropriate to look at the area of financial inclusion and literacy, which has both broad macro level implementation for financial stability as also macro connotation towards an individual's financial well-being. The overarching principle behind India's journey towards financial inclusion is echoed in the Gandhian philosophy, which says Sarvodaya through Antyodaya, means welfare of all through the upliftment of the weakest. So this financial inclusion translates that Gandhian philosophy to the reality. Now, India, with a large section of population in the working age group, is already the largest economy in the world in terms of purchasing power parity and is aiming to become a $5 trillion economy in the near future. The government has been undertaking a series of calibrated macro measures through wide-ranging structural reforms. Among all the prerequisites for achieving demographic dividend and accelerated growth, greater formalization of economy, a higher credit to GDP ratio, and greater financial inclusion are the differentiating factors that would elevate our economy to the desired level. As a result, large and hitherto excluded sections of the populations have been brought into the formal financial fold. In this context, promoting and deepening financial inclusion with financial literacy would play a very important part in our endeavor to realize our collective potential. Taking this forward, the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion 2019-24 and National Strategy for Financial Education, Financial Literacy 2020-25 provide a roadmap for a coordinated approach towards financial inclusion, financial literacy, and consumer protection. The National Strategy for Financial Inclusion document lays down several milestones and action plans to be implemented in order to make financial services available, accessible, and affordable to all the citizens in a safe and transparent manner to support inclusive growth through a multi-stakeholder approach. Financial inclusion or financial deepening is a buzzword in the corridors of the financial world today, especially in a country like India, where in 2010 and 11, around 50% of the population had no access to the banking. The regulators, policymakers, and planners strongly believed that financial deepening is the first thing for inclusive growth. In India, where about 260 million adults, 26 crore adults, were underbanked, 80% of them being in rural areas. no-frill accounts opened up to 2010, out of those no-frill accounts, only 12% of those accounts were active. So the major reason for this was the insufficient lack of push by the government till 2014 and the lack of financial literacy. People were not aware the benefits of about the benefits of the opening of the account. Financial deepening refers to the increased provision of services in the financial firmament with a wider choice of services geared to all levels of society. It also refers to the macro effects of the financial spreading on the larger economy. Honorable Prime Minister announced as the National Mission on Financial Inclusion in his Independence Day address on 15th August 2014 to ensure comprehensive financial inclusion of all the households in the country by providing universal access to the banking facilities. I still remember when on 15th August 2014, Honorable Prime Minister declared about this financial inclusion, and I still remember in one of the conferences and seminars we were having, Gyan Sangam, where all the bankers were present, ED, MDs of different banks were present. There he told that first our Honorable Prime Minister asked the Reserve Bank of India during what time this financial inclusion can be implemented and each household can have the adult in the household can have the banking account. So this was told by Honorable Prime Minister himself in one of these conferences. Then Reserve Bank of India said, sir, it will take around 3 to 5 years to achieve the full benefit of the financial inclusion. Then our Prime Minister asked the Department of Financial Services during what time you can implement this program. So DFS, Department of Financial Services, were aware that this Reserve Bank of India has told that within 3 to 5 years this program can be implemented. So to give better impression about them, they said, okay, within 2 to 3 years we will achieve it. Then Prime Minister said, nothing. I want that this should be completed by the January next year, that is January 2015. And then all the bankers, the Government of India and machinery came into picture and it was implemented. The first one adult per household got their account opened by January 2015. So this was the speed with which this program has been implemented, and the Prime Minister has shown his personal interest in this thing. Now, the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, an initiative of Honorable Prime Minister, is an extraordinary achievement for the government. The scheme has extended banking for almost every single household in the country. PMJDY accounts provides basic objective of financial inclusion, that is successive implementation of direct benefit scheme, checking the pilferage of subsidy, providing a wide range of credit, insurance and pension services to the hitherto financially excluded society of India. For creating a universal society security system for all Indians, especially the poor and the underprivileged, the Honorable Prime Minister launched 3 social security schemes in the insurance pension sector on 9th of May 2015 with a view to achieve goal of Jan Dhan to Jan Suraksha. So basically the important pillars of this financial inclusion are, number one is that opening of deposit accounts, which we also popularly call it as no-frill accounts, where the minimum balance requirement is not there. Then credit or loans, that is the government has launched that Pradhan Mantri Mudra Loan Yojana and the Stand Up India scheme. Insurance, under insurance there are 2 schemes, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana and Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Then pension is Atal Pension Yojana, where after some age, after 60 years, the person gets the pension. And remittances in the form of direct benefit transfer and UPI. And today we all know about the benefits which is accruing to the government and the national exchequer because of the direct benefit transfer. Now, if we see the present status of the implementation of the financial inclusion program of Government of India, as on 18th of August 2021, a total of 44 crores accounts have been opened under PMJDY scheme, and out of which 28.70 crores, that is 66.69%, are opened in rural areas, and 23.87 crores, that is 55.47, are opened by women. Total deposit in PMJDY account is rupees 1 lakh for more than 1,46,000 crores. So we can see the amount of this deposit, which now the commercial banks hold. And initially, the banks were also of the view that this financial inclusion program may be a drain on their profitability. But of late, they have also realized that the business they are gaining out of it, that has become really profitable for the banks. And average deposit per account has also more than tripled from 1,064 in March 2015 to rupees 3,400 in August 21. It can be observed from this that on major parameters, consistent progress has been observed. Digital pipeline has been laid for implementation of PMJDY through linking of Jan Dhan accounts with mobile and Aadhaar, which we popularly know as JAM treaty. This infrastructure pipeline is providing the necessary backbone for DBT flows, adoption of social security and pension schemes, facilitating credit flows and promoting digital payments through use of RuPay cards, and thereby accelerating the pace of attaining the goal of secured, insured, digitalized, and a financially empowered society. Total achievement under Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana from 2015 to 2021 is rupees 16 lakhs crores. Mudra loan, which we know that it is the loan up to 10 lakh of rupees to the public without any security or guarantee. So there, during these 6 years, from 2015 to 2021, an amount of rupees 16 lakh crore has been disbursed, sanctioned, as against the target of rupees 18 lakh crore. So this is also a great achievement as far as the PM Pradhan Mantri Mudra Loan Scheme is concerned. And achievements under the Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana scheme up to July 21 is total cumulative enrollment has been done to the extent of 10.65 crores at total enrollment, out of which PMJDY account holders covered are 2.09 crores, that is 31%. So now when we talk of financial inclusion, if we don't focus on the financial literacy, then I think our work will be half done. Because financial literacy is the major area where we have to focus so that the people can understand the importance of the financial inclusion and the benefits which can accrue to them. So achieving financial inclusion without focus on financial literacy is very difficult. Financial literacy refers to the ability to make informed judgment and to take effective decisions regarding the use and management of money. Financial literacy is regarded as an important requirement for functioning effectively in modern society. Raising financial literacy supports social inclusion and enhances the well-being of the community. Financial literacy is broadly defined as the capacity to have familiarity with and understanding of financial market products, especially rewards and risks, in order to make informed decisions or informed choices. Viewed from this standpoint, financial literacy primarily relates to the personal financial literacy to take effective action to improve overall well-being and avoid distress in matters that are financial. Now, what is the way forward? Financial inclusion in the country is poised to grow exponentially with digital-savvy millennials joining the workforce, social media blurring the urban-rural divide, and technology shaping the policy interventions. Going forward, harnessing the near universal reach of bank accounts across the length and breadth of the country, there needs to be greater focus on penetration of sustainable credit, investment insurance, and pension products by addressing demand-side constraints with enhanced customer protection. Technology, though being a greater enabler, can also lead to exclusion of certain segments of society. It is therefore imperative to build trust in formal financial services among the hitherto excluded population. Adequate safeguards to address issues of cyber security, data confidentialities, mis-selling, consumer protection, and grievance redressal through appropriate financial education and awareness is the need of the hour. To conclude, I would like to say that in a large country like ours, with an aspiring population, financial inclusion and financial literacy cannot remain just the responsibility of any one or two financial sector intermediaries. It has to be taken as a responsibility by all of us so that this can be implemented in the true spirit. And of course, CSR Research Foundation, which has been carrying out such type of summits regularly, I think this is the right step in that direction. We need to continue our collective efforts by all stakeholders for greater financial inclusion in pursuance of the goal of sustainable future for all. There is need for accelerated universal reach of bank accounts along with access to financial products relating to credit, investment, insurance, and pension. I look forward to interesting ideas and thoughts emanating from this summit, which would enhance the process of financial inclusion in the country. Thank you very much.